guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're putting a new motor for the S13.
So last video I showed you guys this car. I don't know if I told you guys the story behind it on how we got it. Janelle bought this S14 because he planned on building a Koki, but then this one popped up back for sale, his original hatch that you guys saw last video. Now we have this, so he's still gonna build a Koki, but now that he has this is probably gonna be a slower build. He plans on buying a Koki shell and he's gonna take all the parts off this donor and put it onto the Koki shell and build a really clean Koki. So he didn't need the motor. He decided to sell me the motor to be able to have money obviously for this build and for the Koki build, because he has a 2J that he's building. He also has a couple RB25s that he just picked up. That was crazy. I bought this motor off of him. Today we're gonna pull it and get it ready to be able to throw into my hatch. He bought this car off of someone on Instagram. It's originally a Zenki. The last owner thought it was an original Koki, but it's not. It's actually a Zenki with the Koki front end on it. He crashed this car and this car's been sitting for like a year. There's a bunch of front end damage right here. So the shell isn't actually repairable. Like, this shell was gone. Obviously you can still repair it. If you really wanted to, it'll be driving. But Janelle wants a super clean Koki, so he doesn't want to deal with it. I don't know if you guys can see, but the actual frame rail is bent super far back, almost by the firewall. I'm sure someone could repair it, obviously, to like OEM spec, but it's gonna be too much of a hassle. It would be easier to just get a shell and just rebuild from the shell. So that's where I come in. I already bought the motor, but right now I'm gonna start taking everything off to start pulling the motor. You guys saw last video, my motor blew up. It didn't blow up, it's still driving and everything's good on it. But I'm at the point where I'm over that motor. The motor's definitely tired. It's low on compression. It's blowing a bunch of smoke out the exhaust from running rich. It could also be piston rings. I don't want to deal with that motor. So the plan is I'm gonna pull this motor because we did a compression test on it. I'll put the numbers on the screen right now. This motor's super healthy. It ran perfectly fine before it was crashed. This motor should be good and I'm excited to have it in my car. And then with this motor inside my car, I'll finally be able to go to the track and just finally be able to drive my car. And then the motor that's in my car right now, I'll build that on the side for boost. So as I'm getting seat time, I'll be building a K-AT on the side. By the time I get better at drifting, I'll have a K-AT ready to go inside the car. So that's the plan. This video, we're gonna be pulling the motor and getting it ready. And then next video, we'll be installing it and swapping it inside my hatch. I'm not gonna do anything fancy to this motor. I'm literally not gonna open it. I'm just gonna do all the bare maintenance, the front main seal, rear main seal, valve cover gasket, oil pan gasket, just the bare minimum. I'm gonna throw it inside my car and hopefully it rips. That's all I'm hoping for. Let's get started. Let's take all this off, raise the car, take off all the trans mounts, everything, and let's pull this and get it ready. I don't think I need to jack up the rear because there's no drive shaft in it already. So I don't have to worry about the drive shaft, but what I do have to disconnect underneath is I need to disconnect the trans mount. Got the tools ready. I'm gonna take off the trans mount and then that should be everything I need to go underneath the car for. Let me get that trans mount out. That's gonna be step number 1. I think I have everything on the trans disconnected, all the wiring harness, brace. Bro, the brace is so loose, it came out so easily. Now what I have to do is I have to go on top and disconnect everything, all the harness, the throttle body cable, any vacuum lines and stuff, just literally everything I need to remove on the top to be able to pull the motor. That's what's next. Once the motor's ready to pull, I might pull the liquids just to make sure that everything's empty when I pull it. Should be pretty self-explanatory. Let's start taking everything off and hopefully everything goes smooth. First thing I'm gonna do is I need to drain the power steering because this is gonna be connected to the power steering rack. So I'm gonna disconnect this line right here at the bottom to be able to drain all the fluid. Once it's all drained, then there shouldn't be anything in it. And then I could disconnect this line right here. I don't wanna disconnect this line right here because all the oil is gonna come out through here and it's just gonna make a mess. So let's start on that. The next thing I gotta take off is the AC stuff. So it's a 13 right here and a 12, and I think that's everything that connects to the firewall back here. It's just this big ass line right here. Yeah, hopefully just these two. Take that out and then that should be everything for the AC compressor. Make sure you vacuum your AC system before taking anything off. Make sure to remember to disconnect this wire. Luckily everything in the front's already removed, so I don't have to worry about all this, but you have to take off the airbox, the radiator hoses obviously. I already got everything for the AC compressor. I don't see anything else attaching it. Everything for the power steering is loose too. I have to take off the exhaust obviously, so I need to take this off right here. This is gonna be the next thing I take off all these bolts right here. I have to cut the exhaust. The header's not gonna come out. I unbolted the header, it's ready to come out, but some idiot welded it to the entire exhaust. So literally from there all the way to about like right there on the car, it's one piece. There's no bolts on it all the way to the end. It's supposed to bolt up to a cat right here. Instead of getting a test pipe, they just welded it, so it's literally an entire piece all the way over there. It's not gonna come out unless I cut it right here with the Sawzall, and then I'll take that part off, and then this will just fall down. I'm gonna wait for Janelle to cut that because I don't know where he's gonna want to cut it, but at least the header's off. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the rest. I gotta remove all the wiring, throttle body cable, literally anything that's holding the motor to the chassis still, I need to remove. So it looks like a lot of wires, but if you just trace them down and see what's what, I guarantee you'll be able to figure out what you need to take off. If it's stuck on the motor and it'll come out with the motor, don't worry about it. So far so good. There's these two lines, so this one and another one. Basically the lines from the heater core, they go underneath the intake manifold, and those hoses do not want to come off, so I'm gonna just use this just to cut the lines off. My car doesn't even have a heater core, so I'm gonna just cut those off. It's gonna make it easier to remove the whole motor. I think I disconnected everything needed on the motor to be able to take it out. I disconnected the starter, the heater core lines. I got the wiring harness out, which is connecting everything on top right here, and there was a ground back there. Dude, it was so tucked into the side right here, but you just had to pull it out. So I got that out. I could probably pull the motor without removing that, so we're gonna try that first. But I'm gonna wait for Janelle so we could tie the motor up and take it out. Hopefully it comes out easy. The only thing left should be the motor mounts that are holding it in. Hopefully after this swap, the car runs good. I could just go track that to track that to track that and just get seat time. And I could do all the other mods I've been waiting on, like the clutch, the flywheel, the drive shaft, the different gear ratio in the rear, just a bunch of stuff I could do, but the car just never ran right. So hopefully now with this motor, everything runs a lot better. I'm excited to pull it. Let me call Janelle right now, see if he's awake, so we can fucking pull the motor. Cherry picker ready. Probably gonna have to move the S13 right now. I'll just put a strap on the motor, take off the motor mounts, and it should be ready to pull, hopefully. Janelle, you always be lagging, bro. I tied it up all right. I don't know if this is gonna be good enough, but this should be enough to pull the motor. So I think the last thing is literally just the motor mounts, but I need to move this. This is gonna be annoying as hell to move. He has a twin disc clutch in this. Hardest clutch I've ever driven in my life. When we picked it up in Idaho, I drove it like 2 feet, 3 feet forward and backwards. And it's on E85 right now, and it needs a tune bad, so I don't even know if it's gonna start, but we're gonna try and start it right now. I need to move this, and then we'll be able to start pulling the motor, so let's see how this goes.
Makes me feel better knowing that he just stalled it twice. Sounds good though.
Oh, he got a pig nose on it now. I just noticed that.
If anyone watching this has a pig nose front lip, let me know. All right, now that we got the car out the way, I can put the engine hoist on the actual motor and take off the motor mounts and pull the motor out. Hopefully everything goes smooth. The front's already cooked, there's no saving it. I'm gonna cut this off, get the front end free, and then we'll be ready to pull the motor. Finally got the motor out. Janelle came and helped me out. I have to go to Harbor Freight. I have to buy a stand for it. I forgot to bring mine. I also forgot to disconnect the alternator harness. I don't know if I broke any of the wires. I hope not. But yeah, motor's out. Trans is out. So I bought the motor and the trans off him, so I have an extra trans for my car whenever it does go, because they're not the strongest. The only thing Janelle's keeping from this motor is the AC system, so he's gonna take off the compressor. All that's his. Everything else is mine. So I gotta go buy that stand. Janelle has to go buy 2 stands because he has 2 RB25 DETs that he has to put on a stand. And the RB25 that's inside this car, that one's also gonna go on a stand because he's gonna pull that one out. So let me go buy those stands. All that's left for the motor is a light degreasing. I'm gonna do all the maintenance on it, front main, rear main. Let me go get the stand and we'll come back, and then hopefully today we could degrease everything, clean everything, power wash it, and then hopefully the motor will be ready to throw into my car next week, and that'll be the next video you guys see. Excited. I just came back from Harbor Freight with Janelle. We picked up 3 engine stands. He bought 2, I bought 1. I gotta open it, build it. All I'm gonna do for the rest of today is I'm gonna put this motor on this stand, so take out the transmission, mount it on there. I was gonna degrease it, but it's already getting late, and I go to Willow Springs tomorrow. I'm gonna be coming back. I'm gonna be washing the motor, degreasing it, and I'm gonna be doing maintenance on it, getting it ready to put on my car. I'll see you guys then. Back. Got the motor on the engine stand right here. Got the transmission ready. All that's left basically to get it ready to put into my hatch is to clean it and reseal all the small seals, just as preventive maintenance. So right now, before we even touch anything, let's clean this up because this motor's filthy. Honestly, it's not too bad for K. The head looks pretty clean. Doesn't look like it was leaking any oil up here. A bunch of grime and dirt right here. I'm gonna clean this up for Janelle. He's gonna be keeping the AC compressor, so I'm gonna just clean this all up. Before I wash it though, I need to go ahead and just cap everything that can get water. So I'm gonna put a glove around here. I'll put some rags inside of each runner, make sure no water gets in there. Throttle body, the distributor should be fine. I'm not even gonna be using the distributor, so I'm not worried about it. All the vacuum lines right here, the EGR stuff back here for the brake booster, all those little lines I have to cap. That I don't think I have to cover anything on it. Let's cover everything up, get it ready, and let's hose it down, clean it up. Go ahead, plug everything up, make sure no water gets inside the actual motor. We should be good. I use
rags for the exhaust runners, gloves and zip ties for everything else, stuff the glove inside of here. Plug that up right there. This right here because it goes into the intake. Throttle body. And then the only one I plugged back here was the brake booster. There's these tiny ones right here, but I don't think they're gonna be a problem. I'm gonna be taking off the manifold and simplifying it, so I'm gonna get rid of all the EGR stuff, so I'm not gonna need any of that. Same thing with this charcoal canister right here. This is the degreaser I'm gonna be using. I just saw right there, it literally has like car parts on there and gears and stuff. Hopefully it works. I'm gonna just put it in a spray bottle. I'm not gonna dilute it at all. Pressure washer hooked up, so literally all it is just spray the greaser, agitate it, rinse it off, repeat it like 2-3 times, and it should be good. Same thing for the trans. The trans isn't as dirty, to be honest. It's pretty clean for a KA trans. This is where the gear oil falls out of it, so that means that water could get in it. So I sealed that up. After I'm done washing it, I'm gonna flip it on its side. I'm gonna wash the inside of the bell housing too. The rear main seal was obviously leaking a lot. All that gets inside of the transmission bell housing, so I gotta clean that too. But
well, I also got these glasses, so now I don't have to have a GoPro on the top of my head. Let's see how the video looks. Let's get started. I'm excited to see how it's gonna turn out. Cleaned up even better than what I thought. Obviously, it can still be cleaned a little bit better. I don't want to take off all the parts and hand clean them, so I just gave it a quick wash, quick scrub, and it should be good. Once I get the hang of driving and once I get another drift car, once I need more power, then the 240 is gonna go through a whole new like revision. But for now, this should be good. Got everything nice and clean. Like I said, it's not perfect. There's still a little bit of grime in the corners. Back here too, there's a little bit of grime right there I couldn't get, but overall, cleaned up really well. I got off all like the battery corrosion on this side off. Just looks overall like a super clean motor now. The transmission cleaned up even better. It wasn't even that dirty to begin with, so motor's clean, transmission's clean, ready to go into the car. Now I'm gonna go around, I'm gonna just take off all the plugs that I put on it. It's not perfect, but a lot better than what it was before. I'm gonna start taking off the seal, so I'm gonna replace the front main seal. The valve cover doesn't come in until 5, so I'm gonna go pick that up later. I'm gonna turn the motor around, I'm gonna do the oil pan gasket, and then take off all this so that Janelle can have all that. The rear main seal is gonna have to wait until I take this off of the stand because I can't do it right there. So that will be the very last thing before the motor goes into the car. And then I'll do the oil pan as well. I might do the water pump too. I'll see how far ahead I get. That's the plan for right now. Let's go ahead and start that. Next video, we'll be actually doing the swap, turning the car on, driving it, and make sure hopefully everything works out. But for now, it's just a lot of prep. So let me get all these seals on it, and then this motor should be ready. I'm gonna change the water pump, just these bolts right here. Take that out, put the new one in. The front main seal is behind this, so I have to remove this pulley right now. I have to do the same thing I did right here on this side, so that the alternator could get pushed in. I'll take off the belt, and then those bolts are next. go. Worked. Good shit. Junior gave me this tool right here that hooks into there, and then you just basically use this as leverage and just prop it out, so hopefully it works good. Let's try it out. More for good measure. I forgot to drain the oil before flipping the motor over. I can still do the oil pan gasket with the oil still in it and then drain it later, but I want to flip it over and drain the oil because when I take off the oil pan again, I want to take off the oil pan at the bottom and see if there's any like plastic. Cause when I took off my oil pan on my first motor, there was giant pieces of plastic in here from the timing chain guide. I already put the bolts back in. I only put a couple just to hold the oil pan in place. I'm gonna crack this loose, and then when I flip it over, I'll take off the bolt and then I'll drain all the oil. With the motor flipped the other way, I'm gonna take the oil pan off on the bottom to see if anything is inside of here. So let me do that. I should have done enough in the beginning, but whatever. Got the oil pan gasket done already. I'm letting it sit for like 15 minutes and then I'm gonna torque it down to spec. But I'm letting the RTV solidify a little bit for like 10 more minutes. While that solidifies, I'm gonna clean up all this shit. I got the front main seal done, the water pump's done, and the oil pan's done. All that's left basically is the valve cover gasket, which is, I don't even have that yet. I'm gonna pick it up today, but that's easy. I can even do that once inside the car. The rear main seal I can't do until it's off the engine stand. Right before it's about to go into my hatch, that's when I'll do the rear main seal. The motor is basically ready to take off the stand and put it into the car. Next video, before we throw the motor inside the car, I'm gonna delete the EGR completely. I'm gonna try and simplify the intake manifold how it is on my car. I might take my manifold off my old motor and put it on this motor because mine is ported and mine is already simplified, so we'll see. I'll talk to Janelle and see what we want to do, but other than that, it's basically done. I wish I could clean the motor better like I said, but I'm just trying to get to the track, so if anything I'll clean it later, but I just really want the car to drive. I'm hoping that the swap goes smooth. Next video we just simplify this motor, get it ready, and then we just throw it in, start it up, and then drive it around, make sure everything's good for a couple days, and then if it's good, then we're gonna be heading over to the track finally, and hopefully I should have all 150 horsepower that the K should have, or 120 horsepower that K should have, and hopefully it rips now. I'm so excited to actually have a motor that is actually healthy, so hopefully everything goes smooth. I already compression tested it, we heard it run, should be fine. I'm gonna clean up all this while that solidifies. Once I'm done with this, then I should be able to torque that down and the motor should be done. gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed any moment in this video, please consider subscribing. Drop a like, really helps out a lot, especially for a small channel like mine. I hope you guys are excited as I am. Next video is gonna be sick, bro. It's gonna be a whole new 240. I'm excited. I'll see you guys then. Later.